Hey guys, so the Baldurs Gate 3 reveal was this morning. I woke up at the crack of dawn. No human should be awake at this time. But hey, we've been waiting 20 years for this, so worth it. The cinematics looked amazing, phenomenal. I have no doubt that the story to this game is probably going to pull everybody in. We're going to be completely engrossed, no questions. I also really like that, just like Divinity Original Sin 2, the footage that we were shown so far was all voiced. And I think that's really important because it helps really ground all the characters and it adds so much more personality when you can hear them speak. I absolutely love the transition between the ending of the cinematic and the character create. I think that was absolutely phenomenal. And I love the fact that you could hear the Mind Flayer speaking to you as you're making your choices throughout character create. God, that was so good. A really, really awesome touch. Overall, graphically, I don't have any complaints about the way that these characters look. The features, the characters, we don't know too much about how much can be customized. All the options, I mean, Sven actually mentioned that they've only got, limited choices available right now, but I have no doubt that's all going to be fleshed out. And we're going to have a full suite of races, classes, everything that you'd expect from a next generation D&D based game. One thing when we first jumped into the game was the camera. I'm not 100% sold yet. I'm like 99% sold on the camera. And that's just because it's so reminiscent of Divinity Original Sin 2. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. I kind of really like the high angle fixed camera with maybe a little bit of zoom would have been okay. But this is something that I'm probably going to change my mind at when I actually start playing. I think I'm probably going to end up being like, oh yes, this is amazing. I love the fact that I can zoom right in over the shoulder and I can play the game like that. So for me, the camera is like, it's a question mark, but it's still by far in the positive. Good. So far, the UI feels a lot like Divinity Original Sin 2 to me. It doesn't feel like a Baldurs Gate game. And what I mean by that is that Baldurs Gate had a very clear UI style. It was very organic. It had a stone feel to it. It had a crafted, chiseled, handmade feel to the UI. And this just feels so different. This feels more like a sci-fi-esque UI. It's very clean, very clear, sharp, and simple. It's just lacking that connection with organic material, I feel. Something a little bit rougher around the edges. There's a lot of black and grey used in the UI as well, which I feel is less fantasy and more sci-fi. But aside from that, the minimap icons, everything that I'm looking at here feels like it's been lifted straight out of Divinity Original Sin 2. And that was actually something I was really hoping that was not going to be present for Baldurs Gate 3. I was hoping that it was all going to feel like a brand new game from Larian, not Divinity Original Sin 3. I think the other thing that was immediately apparent also was the fact that combat was all turn-based. It was not real-time with a pause style combat. And I know this is going to be a really big talking point because there are a lot of people who prefer turn-based combat. And there are a lot of people who prefer real-time combat with pause. So this is one that I think is going to be a prickly topic. So it's my hope that someone in the mod community makes a real-time combat mod, because I'm one of those people who likes to play with real-time and pause. One of the other things I quickly noticed, which is UI based again, was the whole percentage chance to hit thing. I can't really say that I'm a fan of this too much because I like not knowing the chance until the attack is made, because knowing that information, it actually does influence whether or not I even want to try to make an attack. Whereas I feel like if you don't have that or you can't see that, you just take the shot anyway. You risk it. But I guess that's something that is really intrinsic with playing in a turn-based combat style of game. Alignment. Now this one really threw me off. I was really surprised to hear that Wizards of the Coast actually asked Larian to push alignment more towards the back seat. It's there, but it's behind the scenes. It's not really at the forefront. And that's kind of crazy to me because D&D has always been, for me, about alignment, and it's always been alignment driven. And I love role-playing that aspect of my character. But that's pretty much where all of my irks end. I know the game is in safe hands. I know Baldurs Gate 3 is going to be a great experience to play. It's going to be a day one purchase for me. I'm absolutely going to be streaming it. I like what I see so far, but I am curious about what you guys think about this. So far, based purely on what we've seen, to me, this game feels like Divinity Original Sin 3. It doesn't feel like Baldurs Gate 3. I personally would have liked to see more of the D&D elements brought forward. Expose more of those D&D elements to the player rather than push them to the background where they can't be seen and they're hidden. Lots of hidden things going on in the background reminds me of Divinity, not Baldur's Gate. One more quick comment on that. I hope the level design in this game is based less around environmental effects and more just on height changes and enemy layout and things like that. Because if this game ends up being about how to place oil barrels and set the entire screen on fire and mixing elements and just burning enemies alive, then that again pushes it far towards Divinity for me. Too far. Anyway, those are my first thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, or you can jump into the stream. I stream RPGs pretty much every single day. Link up on the screen there or click down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next one.